The Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
The Full Melt.
We don't want to break the law. We don't want to do this. We have to do this.
Cannabis extract is illegal, and that's what my product is.
I never stopped thinking about the legal issues as I crossed into every state. That's breaking a lot of federal law.
I don't believe that any of the law enforcement agencies want to lock out what is potentially a last treatment option for these patients.
It's okay. It's okay, youngest.
There still are many, many children and adults with epilepsy who can't be controlled with existing therapies.
I cannot recommend using a medical marijuana product.
It was worth it because it helps my daughter.
If it's helping kids, why isn't it legal, or why can't you do it?
This is about as big of a piece as we'd want to cut at once.
This is our first day of harvest.
We got too much bamboo in here, that's the problem. So we get these big girls and we can't.
Each plant is a whole plant extract, so we have to cut the plant.
Final. So we'll kind of put the next plant about right here. So as long as we all know the size that we're cutting for.
It has to dry, fully dry, before we're able to process it in the lab.
Now you do that, now you can start on the next one here, the next one.
Cool. I've got a really nice one.
We stepped onto the field June 3rd.
Hey, hand me that one. Hey, you're standing one. That'll fill this one out. Perfect.
We planted 17 acres with an estimated 36,000 plants. We'll likely serve several thousand patients with this.
These girls are big, which is good. My name is Penn Madison, and I am the head manager here at Stanley Brothers Social Enterprises. You need to change hands. And we grow medical hemp. We have a little girl, Millie, who's 2.5.
Yeah. Is that one hurting? Or are you getting frustrated about it, huh?
She has intractable epilepsy. It's a debilitating form of epilepsy.
1 in 26 people will have epilepsy during their lifetime. 3 million Americans have epilepsy. 50 million people worldwide have epilepsy. It is one of the most common neurologic disorders.
Yeah.
We had no idea whether or not medical hemp would work. What we did know is that everything else we had tried had not. We had seen specialists all over the country. We had tried multiple anti-epileptic drugs.
Yeah.
I would say in the last year or two, we have seen an increase in children that are here from out of state that have been brought by families to try variants of medical marijuana.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
This is the Full Melt.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
Where we come to you live from the PetPain.com studios in suburban Detroit. It is the Full Melt Show. We try to give you the full melt on what's going on. Cannabis news, culture, and information daily at 7 p.m. Eastern here on thefullmelt.com. Hopefully somewhere along the way we entertain you because, I think cannabis is an entertaining subject. I myself am not necessarily entertaining unless you look at me. If you look at me, you might laugh. I do radio for a reason, I guess. Look, a lot of stuff happening in the news. This particular piece that I just played at the front of the show here was an actual excerpt from a Time magazine. Interesting enough that Time now doing video components, video pieces. See, now that CNN and Time and Newsweek and these organizations are kind of really all the same, it seems like the newspaper publications have the advantage of taking some of the digital media aspects of video from CNN and incorporating it into their publication. The article that caught my eye from Time Magazine today was not about the Stanley brothers or their 17-acre marijuana grow, which is really industrial hemp, high CBD yielding hemp. 17 acres. Can you believe that? I mean, eat your heart out, Kentucky. I wonder how many acres of hemp that Kentucky is going to yield this year. It shall be seen. I know some of those acres belong to the Michigan Hemp Company. I'm not sure how many acres. I think I'll let Joe Brown tell you about that someday. It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. What caught my eye from the Time Magazine story, Time's a big publication. You know that CNN High Profits series just ended on Sunday. There's talk of them doing a season 2. I haven't seen a season 2 come in any marijuana reality show, and there have been a few. Never have I seen a season 2. And I don't know if that's indicative of the idea that this is a broader subject and we really can't just pursue one, plot line, that there are other plot lines to explore, and there are plenty. There are many branches coming off that tree, and I'm suggesting that this is a very large old tree. So lots of stuff to pick from as far as topics on reality shows go. But in the broader sense, Time Magazine, CNN's really parent company, I guess. Time bought CNN from Turner back in the day. With AOL and all that. There was a big merger. Oh, what a mess. AOL, what's that? Who's AOL? Ask a millennial who AOL is. Time Magazine did this story about kids, and it's not revolving around epilepsy. So let me just get into this a bit, because there's other stuff that I want to go over today. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening in the news. But I think some of the most, standoutish stuff is amongst this Time story about the teens don't smoke more pot after medical marijuana laws passed, according to a study. An article by Dan Kennedy. And I really wish they'd stop using the same old hat picture. There's an old picture from 2010 of for medical use only cannabis. It's probably the most overused picture I've seen on the internet when stories talk about medical marijuana. So shame on you, Time, for using that old, really old. It's like a 6-year-old picture. Can you come up with a new bag of weed, please, for your cover story? Because that would be kind of fun. Researchers find no measurable impact from legalization of marijuana in 21 states. New research has cast serious doubts on the argument that legalization of medical marijuana would lead to more widespread use among teenagers. This study, which was published Tuesday by Columbia University researchers in the Lancet Psychiatry, examined marijuana use amongst more than 1 million teenagers over 24 years. The researchers found no discernible impact in the 21 states that had legalized the drug for medical use. Quoting, the risk of marijuana use in states before passing medical marijuana laws did not differ significantly from the risk after medical marijuana laws were passed, the co-authors wrote. While researchers observed no discernible change after the laws were passed, they did find drug use rates were generally higher in states that had legalized marijuana. So state-level risk factors other than medical marijuana laws could contribute to both marijuana use and the passage of medical marijuana laws, and such factors warrant investigation, the authors concluded. So, this is kind of an important thing, because many of the prohibitionists that run around today opposing medical marijuana in states where they're putting this up on either the ballot as a ballot petition or they're bringing it to the legislature, trying to get the legislature to see the light of the day or the writing on the wall and get something done about this. Please get something done, they say. And it's slow. It's a slow dragging process, and we're gaining traction. There's traction coming in Congress. I'm just saying this big welling swell of marijuana proposals across the country. It's like a, it's like a volcano. It's going to erupt come the election cycle next year. And we went over some stuff about the stuff happening in Ohio yesterday. I don't want to keep bantering that, beating that thing over the head. Because it's going on. And there's more news today. There's more publication today about the idea that legislators are trying to stop the big monopoly grow from being ingrained into their constitution under the idea that it's unfair to give monopolies to people in the constitution of the state's government. And I think they're right. Money governs economics in any, economic system. And I don't care if it's communism or capitalism, money governs the economic system. All things lead back to the money. It's about how it's distributed that is the argument. Money in a capitalist society where there aren't checks and balances against its overburdening power to corrupt, as is evidenced in the flaming city of Rome. These governmental entities are doomed to failure if they don't find a way to keep the corruption of money and its power and influence out of the government's face. And we're just headed down that road, I'm afraid, my humble opinion, in this country if we continue to allow big business to determine what's going to happen in a governmental way. Look, big business and government have to get along. There's no question. But one cannot be greasing the other when the primary interest of the government is not big business, but big people. Government of the people, by the people, for the people, not of the corporations, by the companies, for the limited liability companies. No, it doesn't work like that. It never was meant to work like that. Corporations aren't people. They don't die. They don't pay taxes, obviously. Boy, if they only paid taxes, wouldn't that be a dream come true? This is really corruptive. And so when you start taking people like Kevin Sabet, Dr. Kevin Sabet, I would use that term loosely. Maybe he went to college and maybe he got a doctor's degree. But he certainly doesn't represent the truth. And he certainly, if he has a medical license, violates the Hippocratic Oath by first doing no harm. In the name of doing no harm, he is actually harming people by spreading lies and filth and disease about how, the kids. You got to remember the kids. It's the last straw on the camel's back with regards to trying to hold back this tide of marijuana reform. Kevin Sabet, pack it in. Time Magazine and their pollsters, backed by university study, say you are full of boo-ha. More coming up next.
You're getting the full melt.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit Canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Get the beach bong ready for sunshine and sandy beaches in McGrill, Jamaica this November as the High Times Cannabis Cup moves from Amsterdam to the Caribbean. Your trip starts with the absolute best rates on airfare, hotel, events, and all your Cannabis Cup travel needs at TravelCannabisCup.com. Come stay with us, relax in the sun, play in the sand, and smoke down with the cool people, man. Get to the High Times Jamaica Cannabis Cup. Best travel prices right now at TravelCannabisCup.com.
This summer, discover the one place where your family will create unforgettable memories. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Rated PG-13.
It's the Full Melt radio show.
Radio show.
Hey, I'd like you to join us on the Canalock No Smell guest lines. 1-844-420-TALK. That's 1-844-420-8255. You want to join the program. You got something to say about what's happening in the news today with marijuana. We'd love to hear from you. The problem with these online shows is that a lot of times people choose not to listen live, and they don't get the opportunity to call. And a lot of shows don't give you the opportunity to call in and have your say about this. You can do it, anonymously. You don't have to give your name. If you do give your name, you could probably just give somebody else's name not somebody else's name, but a fake name. Perhaps I could say, hey, I'm Chris from Utah. That's all we want to know is like kind of where you're calling from. And what I should refer to you as on the phone. But I can think of no other programs available now that I've heard. And if there are some, please let me know because I'd like to know about them. Maybe I'll call them. But the only way you can call and participate in a program like this is if you are listening live, and we go to a great extent to broadcast this program live. It's really easy to put together an entertaining program with pre-recorded material just at your finger. Look, I'm really good at that. I did it for a very long time, producing audio. But much of all this program, all this audio is produced by me. But, we don't do this for a particular reason. It's to give you an opportunity, and I feel a little remiss about the whole idea that we spent all this expense and money in putting into phone equipment and your ability to reach us and to talk to each other on the line. And it doesn't get utilized so well in the internet format because so many people, the vast majority of our listeners listen, usually the same day, but after we're off the air, which is, I got a couple of fixes in the works for it, but I'm not sure exactly how, usable they'll be, how much, they're going to have an effect. We shall see. The internet and, technology, it's a new and burgeoning business. It's likely to encounter some rough and tumble. There might be a situation where the old-fashioned talk radio that I grew up with and familiar with doesn't exist anymore because nobody's listening in real time so that they can call and participate. It used to be everybody gathered around the same signal, and, hey, you had a chance to go. But, everybody wanted to go because everybody's there. But that's an impossibility if you aren't listening when that's going on. Listening to a program that happened earlier, it's informative, but how do you get people to participate? Boy, that's a nut I'd like to crack. Listen, it isn't just this Time magazine story. Something else that caught my eye with particular, thunder, was this idea about Indian reservations, because we had an Alex White plume in the past from the same area, in fact, as this story refers to today, with tribes making a big push for retail cannabis. And what is interesting about this story beyond its face, that there's this first tribe that is, going to be doing, they've actually passed an ordinance giving the people on the tribe the ability to have this industry on the reservation that includes adult use of cannabis and medical marijuana for adults and children with a proper doctor's recommendation. They've got a whole different view about how this happens. It's not Colorado style, even though they've got the permission to completely do that. Trying not to reference the story, but having a difficult time. Here we go. Moving down. Where did it go? This drives me insane when this happens. So, I don't know, I might have to come back to it if I can't find this silly thing. There's the worker thing. There's the worker story, which is another thing that I want to talk about. Maybe I'll just do that for the moment, because I'm not finding this crazy story. It's like the fourth page in, maybe. I'll give it one more shot here. I am not finding it. Okay, we're going back then. We'll go back here. Well, I'll do this after the break. And by the way, marijuana.com, so busted. Remember the story about DARE, the DARE.org or whatever website? Project DARE, Drug Abuse Resistance Education. It's part of the prohibitionist crowd. Protect the kids, despite the Time magazine thing that says when you legalize this or when you take control of this in a market and regulate it, that teen use doesn't go up. It actually will likely go down because drug dealers don't ask for identification. They're only interested in making money. The guys that are in business are interested in keeping their license in their marketplace. They spend a lot of money on it. They're not going to let kids into their pot shop. Kids walking by a pot shop on the way to school aren't likely to have any more pot on them than they are to have alcohol going past the CVS who sells beer and wine on the way to the school. It's just not happening. It's a false argument. Red herring. Straw man. Give it up. Okay, I'm getting off that soapbox for a second. So the Colorado High Court, according to the Wall Street Journal, this happened, a day ago they published this story, says that workers can be fired for off-duty medical marijuana use. This story originated some 5 years ago, I'll just tell you. This man sued Dish Network, who fired him for testing positive even though the drug is legal in the state. His name is Brandon Coates, and I've actually asked, put out a word, and when you're talking about dialing up attorneys' offices, you never know when you're going to get a phone call back, especially if you're probably not, necessarily meaning any jingle in their pocket. So, in fact, he even said so on his voicemail. The guy, the attorney for Mr. Coates, said right in his voicemail, and I guess I can't say it because it says it's confidential voicemail, so I better not say. You don't want to get the lawyers mixed up on you. You don't want to. Lawyers are good guys if they're your friends, you see. So the Colorado Supreme Court ruled Monday that employers lawfully can fire workers for using marijuana. I'm trying to get this guy on the show, both Brandon Coates and his attorney, or either one or both. It would be great to have them on to talk about this in a postmortem way following this story. Even though the drug is legal in the state, upholding two lower court decisions on the issue. So they're saying that under all circumstances, employers in Colorado can have a zero-tolerance marijuana policy for your employment conditions. And this means that you cannot use marijuana when you're off duty, when you're not on company time, when you're not on company property. And I suppose that's the American way, isn't it? I mean, these companies have been given the right by Colorado. At least they're saying the laws there in Colorado are not trumped by the employer's rights to fire you. Colorado and Michigan are much the same way. It's kind of at-will employment. Unless you have a specific contract with your employer, a written contract, they can fire you because they don't like the shirt you wore today, or your cologne smelled funny. It doesn't matter. They don't have any reason at all. It's at will employment, which means I can just get rid of you for no reason. Look, you're fired. Just go away. Next, come on in here. Okay, what are you gonna do? Okay, I'm gonna fire you too. Next. They can just do that if they want. I don't think that's a productive thing to do. I don't think that it helps your company. I don't think that your worker's any less productive because he uses medical marijuana, especially in his off time. He's not coming to, stoned to work. That's what I'd be worried about as an employer, not what you're doing in your off time. I don't care what you do with your off time. As long as you show up and do your job, I'm paying you. That's what the gig is. I mean, that's what the terms of employment are. And you start sliding things around like, your daughter's pregnant, you're fired. What the hell is this? I mean, come on. If it doesn't have any effect on your business, what the hell are you sticking your nose up somebody's ass for? That's what I got to know. But as it relates, the Colorado Supreme Court, in a 6-0 sweeping decision, made this ruling. This is a case which involved a quadriplegic man who lost his job at Dish Network after testing positive for pot in violation of company policy, had been closely watched around the country, especially in states where medical marijuana use is legal. Brandon Coates, who has a state-issued medical marijuana license, said that he used the drug only when he wasn't working to help with his disabilities. In a 2011 lawsuit, he argued that Dish violated Colorado law by firing him for engaging in lawful activity while not on the job. But in its unanimous 6-0 decision, the state Supreme Court sided with Dish Network, which argued that marijuana remains illegal under federal law and employers should be allowed to maintain a drug-free workplace. The court said the company didn't violate Colorado's lawful activity statute when it fired Mr. Coates. The term, quote, lawful, end quote, refers only to those activities that are lawful under both state and federal law, the decision said. Therefore, employees who engage in an activity such as medical marijuana use that is permitted by state law but unlawful under federal law are not protected by the statute. Mr. Coates' lawyer, Michael Evans, who I left a message on his voicemail today with, said in response to the ruling that his client had little choice on whether to use medical marijuana, noting that it was the only drug that Mr. Coates and his doctor knew of that could control the seizures he suffered due to his quadriplegia. Although I'm very disappointed today, I hope that my case has brought the issue of use of medical marijuana and employment to light, Mr. Coates said in a statement. If we're making marijuana legal for medical purposes, we need to address issues that come along with it, such as employment. And I agree with him. Hopefully views on medical marijuana, like the ones in my specific case, will change soon, and I hope he's right. Dish Network said it was pleased with the court's decision. As a national employer, Dish remains committed to a drug-free workplace. Okay, I get you on that. It's a drug-free workplace, not a drug-free worker's home place. Why don't you keep your camel's nose under his own tent? That's what I'm saying. That camel doesn't belong under the worker's home's tent. He doesn't. Let's just be fair about this. Kabrina Krebel Chang, a clinical associate professor of business law and ethics at Boston University, said she wasn't surprised by the ruling, given that the state court decisions around the country have turned out similarly. Until the federal government specifically addressed the issue, laws affecting marijuana and the workplace likely will remain hazy, she said. The ruling doesn't give employers any more guidance, and it doesn't give employees any more help either, Mrs. Chang added. The Colorado constitutional amendment that legalized recreational marijuana expressly states that employers wouldn't be restricted from having policies that ban pot use by workers. Some 23 states in the District of Columbia have legalized medical marijuana. Colorado, Washington states also permitting recreational pot use. Legal experts, however, saying it has remained unclear how such laws affect employers and whether they can fire a worker who uses the drug while off the job. and this is going to have implications, I think. I think it's going to have dual implications. I think it's going to have implications about, states that have laws on the books right now, both medical and recreational. And how courts view this issue, this precedent having been set in California or in Colorado. And I think also it's going to have the opposite effect. I think you're going to see states craft legislation that will not make this so in their state. Because what state, say, for example, we've been talking about Ohio a lot recently. I say Pennsylvania is much the same way, but legislatively driven rather than ballot petition driven. Trying to get the same thing done. Medical marijuana in both states, both medical and recreational marijuana in Ohio. But in these very traditionally conservative states, you're going to have opposition that is going to be full of prohibitionist language. And part of this is let employers fire people who use pot off the job. I don't get this point of view. I don't understand what makes employers think that they have a better employee when something else is, conditions change at the house. It doesn't matter what substance you're using. If you're using cigarettes, if you're using beer, if you're using wine, if you're using liquor, if you're using pot. As long as that guy shows up and does his job and he does it well, I think you don't really have any business in his business or her business. It doesn't make sense. From a business standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. If you can tell me, Mr. or Mrs. Employer, how that makes any business sense, how that puts extra change in your pocket in a tangible, connectable, connect the dots way, I'll jump on that bandwagon and beat that drum for you. I really would. But I don't see any logic or common sense that lends itself to this argument whatsoever. Where are we at here? We're coming up on the break. It always happens. It makes me angry when people who are in positions of power use the power inappropriately. Because part of an employer's power is presenting a product or a service to the masses. And if that product or service is mired in political activity, how can you propel your business forward? Haven't you automatically turned off some people? I can tell you as a consumer of a lot of television, I am not going to likely be interested in purchasing Dish Network property whatever it is, goods, services, whatever it is, under those circumstances. I mean, you've upset me, and I think I had Dish Network maybe once in my life. But I didn't know they had this strict policy or that they would treat people like that in places like these. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it makes business sense. In fact, I think it's the antithetical to business sense, because if you're angering people like me, then you've turned me off as a consumer. It already costs you enough, acquiring a customer in the business of television, digital, programming. It's a highly competitive business. It's getting more competitive all the time. And it's lured down with the internet. I mean, that's even more competitive. It's more open. It's got more access. There's more programming there. A litany of stuff to maneuver through there. You could swim through the content on the internet. That's why they call it surfing. There's so much there. It's open to the masses. So it's getting more competitive all the time. In this environment, how can you upset a potential paying customer to the tunes of 50s and 100s? How does a business survive in that environment? I don't understand it. I get that you don't want the employees showing up or being weighed down by some activity at home. If there was a display of this in the workplace, I would understand your concern. But if the only reason you fired this guy is because he showed up on a random drug test positive for THC and he has a medical card, what the hell are you doing? That's all I got to say about that. I really can't say much more. So looking forward into things, I hope employers get a better grasp on this in the long run. I hope that they're met with less prohibitionist language and get on the bandwagon with regards to how to run their companies appropriately with evolving marijuana, policy in this country. I think it's critical. And I think unless and until that happens, we've got a problem on our hands when it comes to people using this as a tool of power and not as a tool of business. That's what it comes down to. Coming back in just a moment with the tribe that has gone legal and the strange ways that they've crafted the legal language around how you can do this, when you can do it, where you can do it, the who, what, where, when, and why of the tribes in power with marijuana. Coming up next on the Full Melt program. Please don't go away.
You're getting the Full Melt.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
It's not easy out there, but it can be easier. And when it comes to medical marijuana in Michigan and chronic pain management, Dr. Bob Townsend, renowned for his patient advocacy and deep understanding of how patients and medical marijuana certifications fit together, makes it his hallmark to educate and provide the best holistic treatment for your condition. His knowledgeable staff makes you feel warm and welcome, and Dr. Bob makes you feel well. With locations across the state in Cadillac and Gaylord, Kalamazoo, Marquette, Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Saginaw, Traverse City, you can't beat the convenience and feeling you get knowing you have someone on your side that cares. Denali Healthcare is on the web at denalihealthcaremi.com. Get answers to your holistic health questions or schedule an appointment now by calling 989-339-4464. Chronic pain management and holistic health answers is what they do. It's all they do. DenaliHealthcareMI.com. Get your certification and peace of mind now by making an appointment with Dr. Bob Townsend at 989-339-4464.
Get the beach bong ready for sunshine and sandy beaches in Negril, Jamaica this November as the High Times Cannabis Cup moves from Amsterdam to the Caribbean. Your trip starts with the absolute best rates on airfare, hotel, events, and all your Cannabis Cup travel needs at TravelCannabisCup.com. Come stay with us, relax in the sun, play in the sand, and smoke down with the cool people, man. Get to the High Times Jamaica Cannabis Cup. Best travel prices right now at TravelCannabisCup.com.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show. Hey, I got to invite you to join us on iTunes where you can, link up to our content, get it downloaded automatically.
I've been counting on my steps.
We love to have our listeners get the information they need automatically. You don't have to tune in live if you don't like to tune in live. You can just click the button, subscribe, and it shows up as a podcast right there on your mobile device. That's kind of cool. That's what I love about iTunes. Looking forward to, we've been talking about this story about the Flandreau Santee Sioux tribal office. They're inside the belly of the Flandreau Santee Sioux tribe. They've crafted an ordinance that legalizes recreational marijuana. The Flandreau Santee Sioux Indian Reservation has legalized the sale and use of marijuana on tribal land. This according to Keoland.com. Last Friday, the Flandreau Santee Sioux Tribe, I say that 5 times real fast. The Flandreau Santee Sioux Tribe Executive Committee became the first reservation in the state to legalize marijuana. Plans call for one facility where marijuana will be grown and another place to buy and use the drug for medicinal and recreational use for those over 21. Those under 21 could still use medical marijuana with the doctor's recommendation. It's a controversial issue for the reservation and the community of Flandreau. Tribal President Anthony Reeder says that the Flandreau Santee Sioux Indian tribe is used to stepping forward and taking a stance on controversial issues. Throughout the Indian country, Flandreau has been trailblazing, Reeder said. We were with the casino. We were the second compacted tribe in the United States, the first and largest casino in between Atlantic City and Las Vegas. So it's something that's not new to us. We kind of like taking the forefront on issues. And I'm glad they are, frankly, because this has been an issue on Indian tribes that is just as controversial as it is off-reservation lands. But they've been given a special grant by the federal government through the Cole Memorandum. An issue that's not everyone agrees on, including Becky Red Earth Vidalia, who's lived on the reservation her whole life. We have no business going into marijuana. I don't care what the reason is, she said. Flandreau Mayor Mark Bunrod said that he's against the ordinance as well. We don't see any benefits in having marijuana in one certain entity without any tax structure or anything that's going to benefit the city or the state of South Dakota, she said. He said. There are more than 300 federally recognized Indian reservations in the United States. I think it's more like over 500, if I'm not mistaken. So it is over 300, but I'm just going to say it's closer to 5. And each one has the power to choose whether or not they legalize marijuana. Tribal attorney Seth Pearman says that the facilities growing and selling marijuana will contain security personnel and surveillance cameras to prevent the removal of the product from the specified locations. He says the controlled environment will limit the quantity of marijuana to 1 gram at a time. We're really kind of hoping that people treat it much like alcohol. We would still allow people to stay at our hotel, which would be the most ideal situation for us, but drug driving is a major concern that we hope to curb. And by having such a small quantity, we hope that people don't overconsume. Pearman says the potential customers still need a valid registration card to purchase and use marijuana, an operation that could be set up and running as early as this fall. Reeder says the ordinance also includes a provision for a 3-member marijuana control commission. So let me just review this for a second. Let's just put the microscope on this and see what this means. So it's for medical and recreational use. That's bullet point number 1. Bullet point number 2, you cannot purchase this marijuana and bring it off the premises. Not the tribal premises, which is also the case. You can't bring the marijuana off the reservation lands. In this instance, you can't bring it outside the building. So just like an alcohol establishment, say a bar or a tavern or a pub, who's permitted under license to distribute alcohol on site, on premises, you have to consume it there. If you walk outside of that establishment with that alcohol in your hand, the police will arrest you because it's open intoxication or it's public drinking, and it's not allowed in most places. So just like this, where you've got to stay inside the confines of the building to consume it, and you can only have one at a time. You know, a lot of bartenders won't serve people more than one drink at a time. Perhaps at first they may. Maybe at the very first they'll do it. But beyond that, it's irresponsible for any bartender in any city or state to give multiple drinks to a single person unless they know where those drinks are going to and can kind of monitor and control that. Because people will overdrink. Now, alcohol and marijuana are very different substances. So this is an argument they'll figure out on their own, and I'm sure they'll modify their ordinance accordingly. They're taking baby steps, you see. It's the same argument that I've always made. This is more evidence of the baby steps argument. The more people become familiar with cannabis, the less afraid they are of it, because they start to realize that the all this crazy crap attached to it, all this negative nonsense that's been, burrowed into the back of this beast is all hogwash. I'm just telling you that it's all lies, all of it. I can't think of one prohibitionist message that has any validity or truth to it. The only thing that I know is that young minds are affected by cannabis because they're still being formed. And nobody is, for legal or recreational use or medical marijuana use is saying that you shouldn't pay attention to that fact. Nobody is pushing cannabis on kids. No one. Except the pushers that exist in the black market that is current and prevalent today. They'll push that on kids all day long. You know why? Because kids are a good customer. And this is what people are afraid of. And I'm tired of the kids being used as an excuse to mire this subject in veil. It makes the issue confusing because it's an easy, sexy sell. Protect the kids. Of course, protect the kids. But by legalizing, controlling marijuana, you are providing a much more structured environment that prevents kids from having access to it. The same way as cigarettes, the same way as alcohol. You're not finding kids running around, dragging booze off to school. If alcohol were illegal and you couldn't get it at the bar and somebody was giving it to the kids, you can bet they would have that alcohol in their backpack and they'd smuggle it into school and they'd consume it there. I'm just guaranteeing that would be occurring. So, looking at this from their standpoint, the baby step standpoint, you've got to understand that these people are doing the good thing. First off, they've labeled themselves as trailblazers. So they understand they're in the forefront of this. They're not, fooling themselves that, hey, they're walking along a path that somebody else has walked before. It's tried and true. It's clearly not. It won't be for some time now. This is still going to be a decade-long fight in the long run. It's going to take a good probably 10 years to settle this out across the country. It'll take that long just for the next couple of election cycles past 2016, where the rest of these states will jump on board because they'll look foolish not to. This is, marijuana is the new gay. At some point I thought gay was the new marijuana. I think it's flipped to the other side now. Now that the gay thing has been accepted by most of the country in most forms, with some people still kicking and screaming. You still got the people wanting to use, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act ideal as a way to preserve, principles and thoughts that are not specifically Christian motivated. My personal beliefs are that, organized religion is some of the most bigoted, some of the most angry, some of the most controlling individuals, across the globe. It doesn't matter what organized religion, Christians amongst them. Very down-talking to your looking down their nose at you. Very judgmental. When the very principles on which they find themselves state otherwise, vengeance isn't yours. Vengeance is the Lord's. I mean, this is just misappropriation of language in the Bible for corruptive purpose. And I'm afraid that, political wings dig their heels in there, too, because they see the value of digging in there. But these tribes that are doing this and blazing these trails are doing it in a smart way. And I'm glad that they are, because, you start in a conservative way and then you relax things where you see room for relaxation or for, unnecessary regulation. And so it's okay that they've got this going on now. There will be people drawn to these tribes that do this kind of thing. They'll consume their cannabis in the little tribal thing there. They might stay in the hotel for the night if that's what the reservation would rather have them do. They're only getting it a gram at a time. So, you finish this gram, go get another one. Finish that gram, go get another one. Finish that gram, go if you want to do that. Same thing with the wax. I'm sure that's going to be something that they're going to look at some point. The wax or the shatter, the concentrates, the medibles, all this stuff. They'll deal with this by personal experience. And personal experience gives you hindsight. It gives you wisdom. It gives the ability to judge tangible reality for yourself and not have it, coated in some crap that somebody else wrapped it in so that you didn't understand what was inside of it. That's ultimately what really is going on. So congratulations to South Dakota and the tribe that is pulling this along in that state. There's going to be a lot more of this happening across the country, and now that this has happened, this is like the Colorado of Indian tribes, I must say. Back in a minute, 1-844-420-TALK if you want to call and participate.
You're getting the full melt.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
If you're like us, your pets aren't just animals. They're members of your family. Pet Pain CBD hemp oil drops are great for aging as well as active dogs and cats. Some people are apprehensive about hemp treatments for pets. They ask us, what are you smoking? Absolutely nothing, and neither will your pet. Like other hemp-based products for humans, the allure is all of the benefits of cannabis without any of the high. The CBD oil has shown to rejuvenate the bones, joints, brain, stomach, eyes, and heart. And the drops contain absolutely no corn, wheat, soy, artificial colors and flavors, or preservatives. Pick some up today. Visit petpain.com or ask for Pet Pain at your local pet store. Petpain.com. CBD relief for your pet.
This summer, discover the one place where your family will create unforgettable memories. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Welcome to Jurassic World. Rated PG-13.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio Show.
I'm in love with an angel.
Hey, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter right there at the top of the FullMelt.com's webpage. And here's a bonus for you. If you can name the guy that says, "Are you high?" at the top of this show, I will send you a FullMelt.com t-shirt. It's got the logo. Oh, it doesn't have our real logo on it. Okay, it's got the Full Melt logo on it. It's got a Full Melt logo on it. It has the leftover t-shirts from the sales we did out at, oh, it's escaping me now. See, I'm all mired in news. I'm all covered up in news. The Hash Bash. We had t-shirts out at the Hash Bash, and so I'll send you one if you can tell me who that guy is. I don't care if don't tell other people if you get the answer right though. Email me at thefullmelt@gmail.com if you know that guy's voice. Play it back. Just go back and play it back. Hear the guy that says, "Are you high?" If you can tell me who he is, and you're right. And I'm telling you, if I heard this guy's voice by itself, I'm a voice expert, though. I can identify it. I'll send you a T-shirt. No charge. Just a nice, cool T-shirt. So I got to tell you about this. Talked about this at the front of the show. All right, the show's billed this way. Santa Ana's pot shop raids, marijuana policy targeted in the lawsuit. This is in the L.A. Times, happening today. An Orange County marijuana dispensary and its members have filed a federal lawsuit accusing Santa Ana police officers of excessive force during a raid last month. This suit, filed Monday by the nonprofit marijuana collective Sky High Holistic, further alleges that city officials, including Mayor Miguel Pulido, have solicited bribes in exchange for favorable treatment of dispensaries. According to the complaint, police officers in the May 26th raid on Sky High Holistic, captured on surveillance video, that went viral after its release last week, trampled over the constitutional rights of dispensary volunteers and members by arresting members for an excessive period of time, causing significant property damage, and making derogatory comments about a disabled woman. They actually said, look, I heard a female officer say that she almost kicked her in her nub. She's an amputee in a wheelchair. Is this conduct becoming an officer? Are you serious? I'd be suing your asses too. The hell are you turning the police into? A police state? No. The people of the country won't let it happen. We will yank back your privilege. We keep catching you do this stuff. Cut it the fuck out. Got to say that. Okay, now I'm going to have to put an explicit thing on the front of this show. The edited video, which was released by Matthew Pappas, said the same attorney who filed the lawsuit on behalf of the dispensary shows Santa Ana police entering the dispensary and later playing darts. At one point, an officer surveys what appears to be a marijuana edible and then tosses it into his mouth. Really? The Santa Ana Police Department is investigating the conduct of the officers in the video. Really? The lawsuits, why are they always investigating themselves? Why isn't a larger organization investigating these police? We had much of this same stuff happening in the city of Detroit. You know what they did? One cop shot himself in the head after he was charged. Another one was federally sought on charges. The entire drug enforcement team in the city of Detroit was disbanded by the new police chief because it was corrupt as the skyscrapers are tall in the city. And I would suggest in some places still is. The lawsuit situates last month's raid in the context of the city's passage and implementation of a ballot initiative that imposed strict regulations on medical marijuana dispensaries. Measure BB was one of two initiatives concerning medical marijuana on the November ballot, and the city council-backed initiative imposed tougher regulations than the citizen-proposed measure, including limited business hours and a lottery system for dispensaries to get one of 20 permits to operate in the city. Sky High Holistic did not receive a permit in that lottery. According to the suit, Pulido and other city officials received lavish dinners, money, and limousine rides around the time that the Measure BB was presented to the council. An unnamed person also solicited $25,000 payments from existing collectives in exchange for a guarantee to be included in the lottery, according to the complaint. The suit also, this is out and out extortion. The suit also claims Pulido has a financial stake in an unnamed medical marijuana collective that won a permit in the lottery. It's so damn corrupt. This is the LA Times. That's not me pointing the finger. This isn't some damn blog, some crackpot with an opinion. This is the LA freaking Times. In an interview with the Times, Polito flatly denied the allegations in the lawsuit and said the lottery system was conducted entirely independently of the city through an accounting and consulting firm, White, Nelson, Deal, and Evans, LLP. Let me just state on the record, the allegations are unequivocal and categorically false, Polito said. To allege that there was some influence of the lottery and therefore it's unfair is absolutely false. Polito said that the goal of the measure was to protect neighborhoods and commercial businesses by confining dispensaries to industrial areas. He denied having a financial stake in a marijuana business and said he did not receive lavish dinners or other perks for supporting Measure BB. Now, I can't imagine any attorney worth his salt would take any amount of money to make these allegations in a civil suit if he had no way of proving them with a preponderance of the evidence. The only limo I've been in is at my daughter's 13th birthday party, Polito said. He alleged that Sky High Holistic filed the suit in a bid to keep an illegally operating collective open. The city's police department sent a cease and desist order on February 26th to the dispensary, but it remained open, prompting the May raid, Santa Ana Police Chief Carlos Royes said. No medical marijuana dispensaries are allowed to legally operate in Santa Ana after a ruling earlier this month in a separate lawsuit in Orange County Superior Court. See, it's the end of the program, and now I'm having my fine nicotine in the form of a Marlboro Medium. In that suit, filed by 3 prospective dispensary operators, Judge David Chaffee issued a temporary restraining order that bars the city from granting permits. Chaffee is scheduled to hold a hearing Friday over whether to issue a preliminary injunction prohibiting the city from moving ahead with the permitting process. So that's the LA Times. And I was going to kick her in her, I almost kicked her in her nub. Who talks to a disabled person like that? I don't care where she's at, under what circumstances she's in. You do not attack disabled people, verbally, physically, or otherwise. How do you do that? First off, this is a woman. Second off, she's a volunteer. Third off, she's an amputee, and you're going to threaten to kick her in her nub. For what? What's she going to do? Run and chase you? Tackle you? Are you serious? Oh, it makes me so angry. And if you've watched the video, just go look it up. Santa Ana police raid on Pot Shop. Just Google it. You'll find the video. Watch the video. You'll see it all there. They're playing darts, having fun. They're ripping crap down. They're breaking stuff. This isn't an effort to find marijuana. This isn't an effort to destroy the place. This is not what we created police departments to do. They're not demolition crews. They're now charged with going and profiting from what they can and using issues that are divisive like this in political stances. And so it'll be interesting to find out how this lawsuit in Santa Ana goes. Got another quick story. Do we have time? Oh, hardly any time. So this other story, real quick. This is in the USA Today. America now has a marijuana resort. This is from Newser. While $420 seems like a more appropriate price, starting at $395 per person per night, I got to do this again. Too much talking, no smoky. Starting at $395 per night, marijuana smokers can treat themselves to a cannabis-filled Colorado vacation. Dubbed Canna Camp, I think there's a lot of people calling themselves Canna Camp. I'm just saying. The 170-acre resort in Durango does not hand out pot nor sell it on site, but Time reports that its concierge will direct vacationers to area dispensaries. Travelers can also bring their own. From there, guests can experience the outdoors and cannabis in a safe, comfortable, and social environment, per the resort's site. That marijuana-filled environment doesn't include the cabins, though, which are smoke-free for safety reasons. Porch smoking is allowed, notes the AP. But no pot is permeating the rest of Canna Camp. There's a THC fusion cooking class, 420 community hour. That's kind of like their version of happy hour. Cannabis yoga. I love it. Cannabis-infused massages, cannabis painting, cannabis pairing dinners, and so on. And then there's the great outdoors. So I think it's great. Mashable explains the state and national parks prohibiting toking, which makes Canacamp's pot-friendly trails unusual. We're bringing an element of luxury to that adventurous, exploratory vibe of childhood summer camp, is how Joel Schneider, CEO of the group behind the resort, frames it. Canacamp opens July 1st. Reservations being accepted now. This story originally appeared, like I said before, in Newser. And as it relates, I love these guys that do these natural cannabis things. I got to welcome the people that are right next to, connected to one of our clients in Flint. So for our Flint listeners, if you're up there at the Sweet Leaf, they've got a great, awesome holistic center. I'm talking there's people in all kinds of unusual and distinct professions that involve alternative therapies for all of your needs. Go up and check them out then. Back with more of The Full Melt Show tomorrow at this time.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.